So this is a review of the quiz for those of you guys who want to retake this. I'm going to start with a quick overview of what the atom looks like. So you can think of the atom as a little pinpoint in the center. It's called a nucleus. And around that nucleus are electrons. The traditional model is that they travel in rings. They don't really travel in rings, but for right now we'll say that they do. So the center is the nucleus. And it contains protons and neutrons together. And out here in the rings are the electrons. And once again, they're not really rings, they're really called energy levels. Oops. So we'll put electrons out here in the energy levels. Outside of the nucleus contains the protons and the neutrons. Okay, so what is the center of the atom called? Well, it's called the nucleus. And the subatomic particles that are in the nucleus will be both the protons and the neutrons. So you had to have both. The subatomic particles are most involved in bonding. Well, that'd be the ones on the outside, because they're the ones that are going to interact with other atoms. So what's on the outside? Electrons. Now, of these protons and neutrons are positive and neutrons are zero charge. So the particles that have no charge are the neutrons. The charge of the nucleus then comes because of the protons. Those are the positive particles. And the charge, of course, is positive. What is the charge on an electron? Well, it's the opposite of the proton. So each one of these electrons has a negative charge. And so on. All of them have a negative. Whoops. So that's negative. When an atom loses an electron, does the charge become positive or negative? Well, if I had 3 protons and I had 3 electrons, and I were to say, well, I'm going to take away one of these electrons, so we'll just take it away. Did it go away? It's gone. Now I've got a positive and a negative that cancel, and another positive and a negative that cancel, and then an extra positive. So what is the net charge? That cancels. Right there, that cancels, and so I have a net charge with no negative to cancel of +1. So when an atom does lose an electron, it becomes positive. When an atom has a positive charge, then did it have more protons or more electrons? Well, it had more protons. So, more protons. So what caused it to become positive? Did we lose or gain an electron? We lost an electron. And the subatomic particles that you find in these energy levels, we already have talked about that, it's electrons. Then we get to the bottom of the periodic table. So on this little notation, you've got here, that's protons. That's called the atomic number. And this is called the mass number up at the top. It includes the protons and the neutrons. So in this case, the atomic number is 12. The mass number is 25. Since the protons and the atomic number mean the same thing, there's 12 protons and then 13 neutrons. We know that because protons plus neutrons equals mass. Well, the mass is 25 in this case, 25. Protons are 12, so 12. So 12, 25. So 12 plus x equals 25. Now I think you've had algebra and you know that if you want to solve for x, you're going to need to subtract 12 from both sides. So you take away 12, take away 12, x then equals 13, and that's how I got 13. Now, another thing that we've said in class is the protons equal the electrons, because atoms are neutral, unless there is a charge. Okay, now if there's a charge, we already said up above, remember up here, when you lose electrons, you're positive, and when you're gaining electrons, you're negative. So you're losing electrons, you're positive, you're gaining electrons, you're negative. So loss of electrons equals plus, gain of electrons equals negative. In this case, we've lost 2, it looks like, because +2 charge. Since normally protons equal electrons, but now you've lost 2, you would have 10 electrons. Because normally you'd have 12 since electrons equal protons. So the charge is plus 2. That's easy because we know the charge is given to us right here. Okay, then down here we've got the bottom number's atomic number. And don't remember top and bottom. Remember the smaller number's atomic number. The mass number is the number of protons and neutrons. That's 32. So the protons is 15 because the atomic number is 15. Remember how we got neutrons? Protons plus neutrons equals mass. So 32 is the mass. Minus 15 protons give you 17 neutrons. Electrons are equal to protons, so they'd be 15 unless there's a charge. Oh, there is a charge. So you've got a negative 3. Does that mean you've lost or gained? Oh, negative charge means you've gained. So you have 18 electrons and the charge negative 3. Over here, 12 and 25, so the atomic number is 12, the mass is 25. Protons will be 12. Neutrons will be 13 again. Electrons here would be 12. Why is it 12 here, 10 up here? Well, because here there was no charge. It says 0 charge right there. And so the charge over here would be 0 because it says right here it's 0. Now we get to a little bit of the harder, well, not harder, but just different. You got 26 protons. So if there's 26 protons, the atomic number is 26. Since the protons plus the neutrons equals mass, the mass is 56. Because 26 plus 30 is 56. The electrons equal the protons, except in this case there's a plus 2 charge. So you've lost 2, so your number of electrons would have been 24. And the symbol is Fe. Number 26 protons is number 26 on your periodic table, and that's iron. So you have 26 protons, you have a mass of 56, and the charge plus 2. That would be the symbol that I was looking for there. Last question. You've got 15 electrons with 0 charge. Now if there's 0 charge, how do the protons and electrons compare? Well, they're equal, unless there's a charge. Oh, but there is no charge. So the protons are 15. That means the atomic number is 15. The neutrons will be obtained by subtracting the mass. Remember up here, mass minus the protons gave us the neutrons. So 31 minus 15 is going to give us 16 neutrons. The element that has atomic number 15 is phosphorus. So that's going to be 15, mass is 31, and the charge is 0. And that's it. So you can retake that next week if you like, or you can wait until the next test. And that concludes this little video.